So, welcome to another episode of Not Just the Women Petpreneurs, because we are now interviewing some of the gentlemen in our industry. And so today's guest is Reginald Moorer. Hey, Reg.
How we doing, everybody?
Better known as Reggie Scissorhands.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, Reggie, let's start off with, first, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. I do appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt. I definitely support anything you got your hands in.
Okay, doke. So tell us, how did you get involved in the pet industry?
Well, it was a long story. Let's just say
we want to hear it.
I wasn't planning on being a groomer. So my introduction, it was kind of like it was more of me just needing a job. You know, and I was, I'll be honest, in my younger years, I had a couple of run-ins and stuff like that with the police. I was on probation, and I had this probation officer that was giving me real problems. And she was on me about not working. And I just went in to help somebody that needed help as a bather. And this was probably in 2017. Okay. And that's where I saw that grooming was something I wanted to get into. I bathed for her about 4 or 5 months, and it just I took a liking to it.
Okay. Yeah. I do like to hear stories of almost like Cinderella stories.
Mm-hmm.
So you are not in a good place.
I'm not in a good place at the time, right?
Right.
And basically it was either you go find you somewhere to work, or I send you to a worse place and give you time to think about it. And I didn't, I wasn't, it was just time for change in my life, to be honest. And when I went in to help the ladies, it was in South Florida where I'm from. The shop had two groomers there. They were both like let's say they were at the end of their career, about to get, retire and stuff, because they were both in their 60s. They were still grooming, and Big Dogs was giving them the blues. They needed help. And when I went in there as a bather, like, I lied, to be honest, on my resume and told them that I had done it before. But one thing, now that I'm a groomer, I know that, just like, if somebody come in your shop for a working interview, no matter what they said or put on that piece of paper, you're gonna know that they don't know what they're doing. And they called me out the first day, but they said, one of them was willing to train me, as to bathe the dogs to her standards, because she did a lot of scissor work, like Bijans and fluffy dogs. So she needed the help.
Yeah, we can tell. Back when I worked corporate and I was in charge of hiring for the grooming room, I had 2 sisters come in who identified themselves as sisters. Okay. And they were each other's recommendation. So that each other's, oh yeah, she's a great groomer. Oh yeah, she's a great groomer, but couldn't say where they had worked.
Where they had worked, yes.
And I'm like, you know what? This is actually a grooming position. We could do a test if you would like. And they declined to do that because we weren't hiring a bather. We were hiring a groomer. So, yeah. And usually sometimes you get to that first day and it's like, yeah, and this is probably not the career you're looking for.
Yeah, you would know. They really needed the help. And I'm just glad they didn't make that decision based on what I showed the first day. Because I probably wouldn't have been around long enough to see that this is something that I would enjoy doing.
You know what? This is such a wonderful industry.
Yes, it is.
So you worked for them for a couple of months as a bather.
As a bather, I would say like 4 or 5 months, not even. And one of them, she decided to put some shears in my hand, and she showed me how to hold them, gave me a couple of YouTube videos to go watch. and she just told me to find a wall and go against the wall, holding my wrists in different ways with the shears and stuff like that, practice holding them. And she gave me a couple of techniques to practice and some stuff to go home and study. And after that, she wouldn't let me learn on her dime like her clients, right?
Right.
The big thing was if you want to learn, she had 10 dogs that she had at home. She said she would bring one of them in like every day, and I could bathe and groom them after work if I wanted to stay over an hour or two later than work, not on her dime or my dime, just me, me getting some free teaching from her. And that's what I did. I did that for about a month with her. It wasn't a long period, but about a month of that. And then she said, she set me out. I probably worked for her for like another 2 months after that. And she ended up having to close her shop because of sciatica and back injuries and stuff. It just had got the best of her. And before she walked away, she did give me the basics.
Good. All right. So what happened after the shop closed?
After the shop closed, it was more of me trying to get in shop so I could finish learning, because I wasn't ready 2 months later. It takes a lot longer than 2 months to get it down pat. But after the shop closed, I tried getting jobs at other salons. No one would, especially as a groomer, no one would hire me on to, learn on their dime. So I had a couple of salons in the area that used to, on the weekends, have maybe 50, 60 dogs. They would get some pretty packed days. They would actually let me come in, pay me at the end of the day as a bather. They wouldn't let me groom. So I would, go to those shops. I started doing a little volunteer stuff at a local shelter. That's where I got most of my grooming in at, when I went to volunteer, or my neighborhood that I was living in South Florida at the time, in West Palm Beach. It had a lot of dogs that were unkept, and basically I learned on those dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to be in my neighborhood doing house calls and doing a lot of bad dogs. I won't say bad dogs because there's no such thing as a bad dog, but behavior issues and
Dogs not used to being groomed.
yes, dogs they were just mostly untrained, unkept.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for you is, where did the name Reggie Scissorhands come from?
Well, after I got started grooming and getting more and more into it, it was just, I started, watching a couple of people on social media, and I saw how there were different I wasn't trying to be an influencer or anything, but I saw how most people had different some people use their real name, some people had that alter ego or that name that fit their career. And Edward Scissorhands just stuck out to me, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in that generation. I was a teen when that was out, so it was something that like how he used to work his hands on the flowers and stuff like that to create shapes. It just gave me that that same idea, with the dogs. So I took on the Scissorhand, kept my name, and added Scissorhand to it.
Okay, because I would just like to make a thing. We had interviewed Reggie on an episode of the Traveling Groomers podcast with me and Chris, and he introduced us to the TikTok.
Definitely the TikTok.
Okay,
I love how y'all say that. The TikTok.
The TikTok. So the thing is, I don't truly get it, and then maybe a generational thing for me.
It's definitely, we definitely went and took the app from the kids, because that's the only reason I knew about it. I used to see the younger people in my family on it at family functions and stuff like that, and I didn't get on it until the end of 2021. So the stuff that I did last year, it was new. It was just, I was just getting on that app. And I would say in a year's time, it's changed a lot over there too, though. But
yeah, you know what? I always say there's 24 hours in a day, and I haven't had the time to like to really figure it out. And I'm like, do I want to figure it out? Or I don't want to figure it out. I don't know. Okay.
you do good. You do good with
I do great on Facebook.
you do. I watch that stuff. And honestly, the people that you need to reach, they're on Facebook. See,
Yeah.
TikTok is so many fake accounts, people hiding behind like profiles. A lot of the people, like my following is huge over there, but it's organic because I got it from going live, and I didn't buy them, they came in the right way. But most of those people aren't interested in what we have going on. They aren't groomers, they aren't looking to be educated, they aren't looking to learn, how to operate their grooming business. Like the people that you need to reach, they are on Facebook.
Yeah.
And yeah, they over there because that's where all the groomers go. The groomers are who you're trying to reach.
Yes.
The people who are interested in learning and educating themselves and being a bit of business owner and stuff like that. Those people are the people who you're trying to reach, and they're going to go to your personal account, your personal page, and to those groups that you have on Facebook because they want those things. And it's different on TikTok. Like that algorithm is weird over there. They'll show your stuff to people that you really can't benefit from. Like,
yeah, I know.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's like going down the rabbit hole. So you watch one and you're like, oh, this was pretty interesting. Let me go watch another one. And the next thing you know, you're there for 4 hours. All
yep,
right.
get stuck. It is. It's a rabbit hole. That was a good way to put it.
So after they closed down and you started, working some of the local shops.
Local
So
shops. Yep.
let's continue. Where'd you go from there?
Well, local shops, well, I would go in and I would do weekends, like, and they would pay me at the end of the day. I did that for a few months, and then I kind of like was losing my like, since I couldn't find a job in it, I kind of backed away for a little while. And then I in the process, I had a resume. I had a resume that I had put on Indeed, like, and months had went by, but I ended up getting a call from someone who pulled my resume off Indeed for a groomer, a mobile grooming company. And at the time, like, I hadn't groomed this breed, but she wanted me to come in and do a working interview. And like, she wanted me to do a soft coated wheating. I had never heard of it. I didn't know what a wheating was. I didn't know like what they wanted done. So before that, most of my dogs I done was small or either like short haired dogs, Shih Tzus, a lot of Matic Shih Tzus. Never really purebred pets like, poodles and Wheatons and stuff like that, carries or any of that stuff. So what I did was I went and watched YouTube for like 3 days before I went to do that working interview. And when I got that, I did the interview. I did a good job on the dog to their liking, and they hired me. And that was my first ever position as a groomer.
Nice.
And that was in 2018. I want to say at the beginning of 2018. I worked for that company for like a year almost. And that's when while I was working for her, in the process, I had bought an old RV and turned it into a mobile grooming van while I was their employee. And she had like 6 other people working the van. And when it got when it slowed down for me to where I was getting like only like 2 days, that's when I I branched off and started doing my own thing in my van. And honestly, that's really where I learned how to groom at. Because when I was working for that company, she was about volume. So it was just a lot of rush, 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 rush. And she wasn't a groomer. So you know how it is when you're working for people that got into it because they know how much money is in this business.
Yep.
And she was like one of those type of employers. She didn't know, like, you know, every dog doesn't take the same amount of time to groom. Like some dogs, even though they're the same size, may require more of your time. I may have a little issue with this dog that, you know, I didn't have with the prior dogs that, and she didn't give us like room for error. And she just put like 10 dogs on the schedule.
You know,
At
10
10,
dogs, 10 dogs in a mobile unit is a lot of
it's a
dogs.
lot. I
It's a
would be I
lot.
would be leaving my kids because at the time I was a single dad. I had my 2 sons living with me, and I would drop them off to school. And by the time it was time for me to get them from like the after school program, I would still be working. So a family member had to help me. I would be gone like 12 hours.
That's ridiculous. When I
Yeah.
was mobile, when I was mobile in my what I call my crazy years, okay,
Mhm.
my crazy years, I was working 5 days a week, doing about 8 dogs a day, and that was insane. I thought that was insane, and I
Yeah.
couldn't keep up that pace. I had to scale back because it was just too much.
Yes. And she wasn't good on knowing the region, like scheduling me, making my appointments close together. I would be zigzagging through Palm Beach County to do that, to get to all those dogs, because she wouldn't have my appointments close together. Like all that stuff is stuff that you know, I wish, like, if I could go back, that's the kind of stuff I wish I would have learned
Yeah,
before I got it. But I know it's available to me now, though. I know where I can get that information from right here.
but here's the thing too. You know what? I bet you learned what not to do, because sometimes in this Pooh Bear, there we go.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's what
Hey,
people
cool,
teach
man.
us is what not to do, and that
Yes,
is as valuable as what to do.
correct.
Because I didn't have anyone to really talk to when I was first went mobile. There was no real mobile. There wasn't a lot of us.
It wasn't a lot.
Wasn't a lot. So when I got there, I'm thinking, oh yeah, working 5 days a week, 8 dogs a day, that money is really good. I'm pulling in a lot of money. But
Mhm.
what I didn't realize was just how exhausted I was at the end of the day. And I was not enjoying that money.
Yeah, you didn't want to do anything.
No, you
Like,
come home, you're exhausted, you do your books, you clean your truck, you go to sleep, you get up in the morning, you do it again.
do it again.
That's
In
no way
that
to
order.
live.
In that order.
And basically in that order.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
taking the time to realize, what you can and cannot do is like really important, especially if you want longevity in this industry.
Mhm. And
So
that's
you
that.
so you got a mobile an RV that you converted.
I converted it myself. Yes, literally.
Okay. So
And in Palm Beach County, right? They like where I started out at, they have they're pretty strict about mobiles and shops. So you gotta before you can operate in Palm Beach County, you have to go to animal care and control, and they have to inspect your van. You gotta have certain floors. You gotta have hot water, running, warm water rather. You gotta man, it's so many different things. Fire extinguisher had to be on there. It was just a whole bunch of stuff they were looking for.
oh yeah.
And yeah, I took it in, and I passed my inspection, and I was able to operate in Palm Beach County for like I want to say 2 years in that van. It was pretty old though. It was a 1989 um Ford Econoline. So it was just an old RV. It had the high roof on it already. It had everything, all the space I needed. All I needed to do was just take out that little bed they had in there. And I put my table area. I built something to put my table area there. and the tub they had, it was a nice tub, but it was for small dogs. So at the time, I would just like I would do only small dogs in the van. And if I did do a big dog or something like that, I would have like a fold up table that I would use outside the van and bath the dog right there on the table. I just
Yeah.
learned a lot. You know, one thing I do, if I could, well, I can't go back and change it now, but like one thing I could say about that experience being mobile and unexperienced and not going through school and stuff like that, it's really hard on you because I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I had accidents happen, you know, but I had integrity. I didn't try to hide it from the clients and stuff like that. You know, in a lot of those instances, the people were so happy that I did speak up to where they even paid the vet bill still when I was trying to pay it. So, you know, I learned a lot of stuff, you know, just being that I came in that way.
Well, you know, what I have found that we all have accidents.
Mhm.
I can tell you all the ones I've had over the years. And I would say I've never lost a client because of an accident. However, I have gained so many clients because other groomers from other shops hid and didn't tell
They
the owners.
hide it. Yes.
And you know what? Most people understand we work with moving objects and sharp tools. You know, accidents can happen. Okay.
Correct.
So, and I think that whole, you know, acting with integrity, you know what? He zigged, I zagged. We have blood.
Yeah. Like that tongue, the paw pad, like them little areas that you could barely like touch and there's blood get everywhere. I had that happen and I freaked out and I was like, man, I hope this lady don't. But they understood already because they knew that their dog was a difficult dog and you know, accidents happen. They
Yep.
probably experienced that already, you know, and knew, you know, it's not always like a bad thing and not to just take it out on the groomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, so I always believe not only in honesty with things like that, but as far as the behavior of the pet, if the
Oh
dog,
man,
if the dog is being a jerk, are
tell
you
them,
going to tell them?
tell them the truth, because they
Tell
don't
them
know,
they don't know.
and they'll be going to other people without the correct information about their pet if they had to leave you for some reason or
Well,
you
and
had to.
this is what I found too, right? So the groomer is not being malicious or anything. They just don't want to tell the owner that the dog is misbehaving. So they don't say anything.
They don't say nothing, yeah. And
Then
people,
the day comes and the groomer simply had enough with dealing with this dog. All right. And
yeah,
so they hand the dog back and say, your dog's been difficult. I'm not doing him anymore. Now, this is like the first time the owner hears.
yeah, even heard it, yes.
So they're thinking, well, my dog has never been a problem before. And all of a sudden it is a problem. What did you do?
What did you do? In that order? Because you didn't
Well,
speak up long ago. You should have been said something.
exactly. And
Correct.
so when a customer would say, I don't know, something happened at the groomer the last time we're there, and now all of a sudden he's a bad dog. And I'm thinking, yeah, probably not. It's unlikely. Not that that couldn't have happened the way the owner said it, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely this pet has probably been difficult his entire grooming life,
Mhm.
and that past groomer just had enough and just handed the dog back and said, I'm done. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then it's my job to say, no, your dog's an asshole. And this is as good as it gets.
And then you got those pet parents that if you listen to them when they trying to book, even though they don't admit it, they know that their dog is difficult and has been kicked out because of issues like that, and they'll withhold that information because they think we won't give them an appointment.
Okay, so this is how I always handle that. Listen, first of all, listen to them,
Listen,
because they're going to give up all the red flags you need to hear. So,
everything.
so anyway, but let's go back to like 2003 or 2004. Okay. So at that time, I was charging $50 an hour back in 2002. So this woman calls me up, and I was in an area, I was there as a favor for somebody else. So I figured I'll just pick up a day's worth. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Okay?
make it worth your
Make
while.
it worth my while. Right. But this woman calls me up and she leaves me this long message. So let's go back to this before cell phones, or there were cell phones, but they weren't like this.
They weren't like that. Yes, yes.
They weren't, there was no texting. There was no nothing. We had phones with answering machines.
Answering machine. Yeah.
Okay? So I get home one day and there's like a half-hour message on my machine. And this woman is just going on and on about Muffin and Princess, which already knew that's the problem. That's red flag number one.
The name.
The name. She's going on how Muffin and Princess would never bite the groomers unless the groomers were mean to them. Plural, groomers. Okay. So the groomers must all be mean to her dogs, and she needs an appointment. And so I call her back and I'm thinking, oh, there's no way I'm grooming these dogs. And so I tell her, I said, you know what? It's not my norm. It's my out of area. I says, so my out of area rate is $75 an hour. Okay. And your dogs, if they are not now accepting of grooming, those dogs could take me anywhere between 2 and 3 hours each to groom. And, you hear the math going on in her head. And she's going, that's like $300-400 to groom the dog. And I ended on it. They're not well behaved. I mean, if they're well behaved, they should only take me an hour each.
Yep.
$150. But she jumped right to the other end. Okay. $300 to $450 is what she was expecting. All right. So she knows.
She knew what she did the math. That wasn't an estimate you put out there.
Yes.
She saw how much she was about to be paying because she knew her dogs were difficult.
Exactly. When they're paying, when they know they're paying for as long as it takes, they are all of a sudden are much better about knowing what the behavior of their pet actually is.
Yep.
So
without even telling you, they tell you.
Yeah. So she declined to book for a grooming appointment.
I can believe it because
I was happy. I was so happy.
She saved you, and she knew she's heard it before, like more than once. She knew what she was about to pay. She's heard it
before more than once, about her dog's behaviors. Probably, I mean, we didn't even get as far to figure out how often she got them done. I'm guessing probably every 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and not done on a regular basis.
Yeah, I run into clients like that still to this day.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Awesome.
And we're back. All right, so 2 years into your mobile van, did you get a new van or did you move on to something else?
2 years in, the van was pretty old. It ended up letting me down. I ended up going into first I went to Wolfgang Bakery. I went in, that was my first salon job as a groomer in 2020. I worked there for about 8 months and ended up parting ways with them because of scheduling and stuff like that. It was just issues between me and one of the receptionists, like just not giving me a lot of days, and I was getting, I had become, even though I was the only person in there that didn't go to school for grooming, I had become one of the most requested people in there because even though I wasn't the best groomer, I was good with their dogs. And like, I did, one thing that I do have in my favor is I am a good bather. Like, my scissoring is coming along. It's coming along fine, and my dog handling is good because I got used to working with a lot of pets with issues, behavior issues especially. But my bath skills kind of kept me going when I was like had the face still looking a little sideways.
Well, you know what? Bathing is 85% of grooming.
Bathing is. It got me a pass for a long time.
Yes. If you don't have good bathing skills, it doesn't matter how good a groomer you are.
No, it doesn't. Because people, the first thing they do, I mean, they're going to see that face in the dog, but they want to smell. They want to know that dog is clean by the time they get it back from us.
Clean dogs. And I considered myself a pet groomer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't grooming anything in a show trim. I mean, I did some show trims when I worked for corporate, but once I went mobile, they were not paying my hourly rate to do those kind of trims.
To do them type of trims. Yeah, I'm about to stop like trying to do too much on pets. Like I'm watching you. Like, well, I know you're not grooming right now at the moment, but I'm watching my vets, and these are people that I know that got the skills that can get in there with Lindsay Dickens and all them right now, right? But when I watch them on live or doing their little stuff, their pet trims, you would think they just started grooming. Like they don't do the same amount of scissoring and critiquing that they're gonna do, on a show dog. So I'm learning that.
So what my clients wanted was, I call clean and cute. Clean and cute. That was all they wanted. They didn't want the long cuts that they couldn't maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, and part of that was me being like really clear with who I wanted as a client.
Right.
You need to be on the schedule. Okay. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. Okay. So as long as I'm getting clients that are listening to me, and then I reciprocate by giving them that clean and cute dog that they want, and that's all they want. I think probably one of the best lessons I got as far as to stop nitpicking was from an ad in Groomer to Groomer magazine. Okay. Because I was spending a lot of time trying to get the dogs just perfect. Okay.
Going over your work
over and over the work, and spending too much time futzing. And I remember I opened up an issue of Groomer to Groomer and I was reading it, and there was an ad in there for Wagon Tails, and it had Dina Perry and her standard poodles on it. And those poodles were gorgeous. They looked phenomenal. And I just was like beating myself up looking at these pictures of these beautiful poodles, and they weren't in like extravagant, cuts or anything. They were just done really nicely.
Done nicely, yes.
And I'm thinking, why can't I groom like this? And then as I'm like lamenting over this and like, crying over this picture, I noticed that some hairs were out of place because like the magazine was like right up against my face.
Yeah.
I noticed a couple hairs out of place. And that was such a light bulb moment for me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
you're over there beating yourself up about perfection.
And I probably shaved between getting better products and better equipment and stopped futzing. That hour and a half dog, I cut down to like an hour. That's huge.
That is huge. That's because 2 dogs, now you got a whole extra hour that you've saved.
Exactly.
So yeah, I get it. That makes a major difference. And that's what I got to start doing now moving forward, especially being that that I'm in mobile, like some of the products and stuff like that I've been using lately. Like for instance, I won't like name drop products or anything, but products that I use some of them may take longer for me to rinse out and stuff like that. I want to find stuff that's gonna still be good, that is better for like a mobile setup.
Yeah, there's better products. We have different needs. Mobile groomers have different needs than shop groomers.
Yeah, I'm learning the difference.
All right. And so we need to use products that are better suited for what we do. Yeah. We don't have an unlimited supply of water. We have water in our tanks. So we need shampoos to clean, and we need conditioners that rinse out that aren't so heavy.
That aren't so heavy. And that's what I haven't. I'm finding them now, but going into it, I didn't know the difference. I
Yeah.
didn't. And I
Most of
was
us
just
didn't. We learned by trial and error,
trial and error.
and
Yeah.
and by taking classes.
Taking classes is key. Yes. Yes. That's
So,
true.
you know,
That's true.
keep up with the continuing education. So
I
now,
am. I gotta come sign up for some it's a few classes I want to take with you guys, but I want to take that pet first aid certification again. I know I keep missing it.
Super Zoo. If
Okay.
for some reason you miss it, you got to let me know.
Well, I'm gonna try to sign up earlier for Super Zoo than I
Yeah,
did
and I
for
don't know
these last.
when registration opens, but it's going to open up pretty soon.
Pretty soon, yeah, because they
And
get
those,
them
the first aid classes, excuse me, they fill up really quickly.
instantly. Okay, I keep that in mind.
Not instantly, but quickly.
Yes.
All right. There's a waiting list by the time the show comes around.
Yeah, I'll be in there months before that, so I definitely be in that number before it closed this time.
Okay, so you're back on your own. You're
Mhm.
mobile. So this is part of the reason why I asked you on here, because you're making a difference in the pet industry.
Okay.
You are such a nice guy.
I appreciate that.
You really are. Okay.
Thank you.
You're happy. I see you at the shows. You're encouraging, and I think we need role models of every persuasion.
Mhm.
All right. Because there's somebody that's going to be in the position you used to be in.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and to be able to reach that person and say, hey, listen, this is a great industry. All right. We are supportive of each other. We believe in continuing education. We believe in helping. So the fact that I'm seeing you as a brand ambassador is great, because I know you're a brand ambassador for All for Groomers.
The Groomers, yes.
Tommy and Kemlin are phenomenal people.
Love them. They are
They are also
awesome.
really good judges of character.
Mhm.
So you would not be an ambassador if they did not see good character in you.
I appreciate that. He definitely, man, but from the time I got on social media, when I started doing my live rooms, I was outside this time because I didn't have the second this van that I'm in now. I didn't have it. I was doing house calls, and I would be in the elements of South Florida doing bad, use that word again to describe a dog, but doing some troubled pets. And some of my, let's just say some of my equipment was subpar. And he didn't want to say it, right? So one day he was watching me on live, and he messaged me later and was like, man, I wanna extend some help. I wanna send you something like that I have, it's a the track saver. He was like, I
Yeah.
want to send you this groom loop that I made. He said you could throw it in the trash if you don't like it. He said, I'm gonna send you 2 of them. He said, I think this will help you with the type of pets that you're doing, to restrain them a little better. And if you don't like it, you can throw it away. And that's how we met. I ended up using that track saver, and honestly, it wasn't just because he sent it to me that I gave it the reviews that I did. I actually love that.
Yes, it was
That
a great invention. And I
great
got
invention. Yes. So it was from there, and we kept in contact, but I didn't know that he had been he really was paying attention to I moved around other people and stuff like that. And before I knew it, he was sharing my stuff and, saying pretty good stuff about me. That's how I learned about your other podcast, the Traveling
Yeah,
Groomer.
and Tommy is the reason why we asked you on as a guest, was because
Yeah.
it was because of Tommy.
Yeah, I appreciate all y'all because that inclusion and just being recognized by people in the industry, it made me feel like I had found my people and where I belong. And you're right, it just made me want to shed light on what happens over here and show it to people that probably is sitting on some skills that we can use in this industry that don't even know about this industry. Because
Exactly.
I was one of them. I was like, I'm not, it's like people may think I'm one of the younger guys or whatever, but I'm almost 50 in 3 years. I just turned 47 in February. So I got into grooming late, like in my 40s.
Hey,
So I
listen,
could,
I didn't get into the pet industry. I was 38 years old when I started as a bather
yeah, that
for
man,
corporate, you know, and I did not even realize. I mean, I went to this store all the time to buy dog food for my dogs, and I knew the grooming room was there, but it never clicked that that's a career. Okay,
that's a career, yes.
I was pissed, and I saw the help wanted sign,
A
and
little risky.
hey, sweetie,
He been trying to get up here for a long time.
until my husband, my kids pissed me off, and I applied for the job and I started the next day. But it just never
Wow.
occurred to me that this could be a viable
Career.
career.
A
Yes,
career. That's the word. It's a career.
it
Cause
is a
look,
career.
like right now, I'm gonna be honest, like um your role in the grooming industry in the United States, at least I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I know right here, like you're a staple. You are very important to the pet industry, to the
You
grooming
know,
industry.
the pet industry is very important to me. It's been good to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many people give me a hand up, you know, and
Yeah.
and help shape me and push me in the right directions. I just want to be able to return that.
And you doing it. I see it every day I look around. Like um with the education stuff alone, that is huge.
Yeah.
That is big, like bigger than you got a lot of people that they come in and most of them they know that it's money in this industry, and that's the only thing that they come in with, the mindset of making money. They don't think like of making sure they make the industry better and bring in better people, make the people in it better.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. Like,
Well, you know what, Reggie, that's exactly what you're doing. All right.
thank you, thank you.
You are a role model to other people, and so I'm going to tell you, continue doing that.
Mhm.
Okay. I thought it was hysterical. I know you helped Nicole Beckman
Yes, yes,
with her
yes,
creative groom,
yes.
and yeah, it was Angie, it was Amy, it was Nicole. I think there was somebody,
And Mindy came out too.
Mindy. Okay.
Yes,
And then there you are in your pink wig.
yes. Like yes. That was one of my honestly, it was a good moment for me. Like that's what you call taking one for the team. Nicole dad was supposed to help her in her presentation, and he didn't make it. She asked me ahead of time, so I was like, you know what, I'll definitely do that for you.
You know what? That was fun. You
It
know,
was so fun. Like the way people the way people received it, it was amazing. When we walked out, it was a good time. I enjoyed every moment.
where do you see yourself in like 5 years? Where would you like to be in the pet industry in about 5 years?
Um, to be honest, I want to be I want to be able to, if I do have any type of influence or way to help. I want to be able to be a speaker or, be able to teach in some way. I don't know exactly where I fit in with the teaching, but in some way be a speaker or a teacher, in one of the programs. I know that my way to be a better speaker and to work on things like that. I know you have programs and stuff that I
Yeah,
need to.
we can have a conversation at a trade show.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
We will
All
definitely.
right. And give me some words of wisdom to somebody. I'm going to ask you for 2 words of wisdom. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go back to the very beginning.
hmm
And you're a young man and you're on parole.
hmm
What words of wisdom do you have for that person?
For that guy, I would tell them, don't let whatever bad decision or mistake that they made, to put them in that position, um, s- stop them from living. I would tell them that it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. And, a lot of times when you have that type of background, you're gonna have some doors slammed in your face and stuff like that. Just don't give up. That's it. That's what I
Okay.
would tell them.
Yeah, because you know what? I don't know a single person who has not made a bad decision.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Poor decisions are
yeah,
a part of life.
yeah, but my poor decisions did not result in anything too
Too
detrimental,
costly. Yes, yes. And
but
that's
there were still some bad decisions made.
and we
Um,
can recover the ones that do get, in that position. You can recover.
right,
It's
and
not the end of the world.
not the end of the world. Now, somebody who is so you have high school kid,
hmm
okay, who's not sure what it is he wants to do. He doesn't want to go to college. Okay.
Oh, definitely. I would well, one thing I would tell them, if they love animals and you know um they don't want to go to college, I would definitely tell them to look into either volunteering at a shelter or somewhere to see how they are with animals, and just to, if they can't find a shop or somewhere to go, be a bather. I'm not against Petco and PetSmart, places like that,
Nope.
corporate, where they can go get trained properly, or I would recommend them to go to a school near them and get certified, because this is I don't see the pet industry like fading or going anywhere. More and more people, like I'm one of the people that didn't grow up with them in the household. I'm looking at a lot of people that didn't have pets that are getting pets now. So this is becoming more and more of a common thing. So I would definitely recommend this to um, a high school student that's not sure about what they want to do as a career choice. I would, because it's the future. To me, it's gonna expand the pet industry, the grooming industry. It's just gonna get bigger.
The pet industry is like a $23 billion industry. And I can remember back in 2008 when we had a real recession.
hmm
Um, my, I was my car mechanic, my Dodge guy. I had a Dodge van. Yeah, I
hmm
would come in and bring my van in for its regular services. And he goes, you're the only one making money.
Like nobody else could.
Nobody else was, but as a high priced mobile grooming service, I was still making money.
Making money. I can say the same for well, when I don't know about the rest of the country, but in 2020,
That was crazy.
when the country was shut down, when nobody was moving, man, the grooming salons didn't feel it. I promise you. I was working at the Wolfgang Bakery at the time, and you wouldn't know that it was
Yeah.
it was a lockdown and people weren't working and no money was being made. You wouldn't know that because that's one company that didn't feel it. I saw people consistently bringing their dogs, and they
Yep.
sold food too. So if you did anything besides grooming in Florida, it made you essential when everybody else couldn't work. And I made money during the pandemic.
Yeah. So it is a viable, it's a great industry to
It's a
get
great
involved.
industry. Yeah,
You know,
I
so
agree.
Reggie, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you had me. Thanks for having me again. Even though this is my first time coming
First
on.
time here,
Yeah, on here.
you know,
Yeah.
and everybody join us next week when I interview someone else making a difference in the pet industry.
Awesome. Just like you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Reggie.
Yes,
Thank you for
yes. You're
coming.
welcome. You're welcome. Have a good night.